Hi everyone, welcome to the show. Today, I am going to be giving you our term 2 update. We here at Raising A to Z, we want to be really honest with you guys and we want to be really real. And part of that is giving you guys the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between when it comes to homeschooling and educating your kids at home. And term 2 has definitely been a little bit rough. Let's just jump right in. Our second term that we've kind of scheduled for ourselves runs from January to the end of April. So it's 4 months. And I have been warned, I've read about it, I've been warned about it, that post-Christmas is definitely a bit of a lull. Like you come off the excitement of the holidays and there's so much going on in the fall between Thanksgiving and Halloween, and it's just like holiday after holiday. And then right after Christmas, after New Year's, boom, you hit this lull where you just kind of drop off. And that is especially true for us here in Canada. It was bitterly cold. It was a lot of snow and snow days where just like you couldn't do anything, go outside, go anywhere. So definitely post-Christmas, we kind of hit this lull. After Valentine's Day, everything just kind of went sideways. So up until Valentine's Day, we were kind of just moving along, not at the pace that we wanted to, not at what we had planned on doing, but we were kind of just post-Valentine's. We had a death in the family. Stefan's grandmother passed away just after Valentine's Day. And she lives with his parents who live only 10 minutes away. So she's been part of our lives for the last, well, obviously his entire life, but she's lived like 10 minutes up the road from us for the last 5 years. We see her every week. And so that was a huge loss to our family, that she kind of died very quickly. She was 93, but it was not something we anticipated at the time. Obviously, when someone dies, there is a funeral, and Stefan's grandmother was not from here in Sudbury. She was from down near Windsor, which is an 8-hour drive, sans children. And so we ended up doing, she passed away on a Thursday. The following Tuesday, we took off for, I think it was like 6 days by the time we drove there, had the funeral, spent time with the family and all that, and then drove home. It was quite a trip. And it was not one that we were planning on taking this at that time. Like we obviously were not planning on driving to Windsor in the middle of winter with 2 little kids. That's just life. It's life. We were very happy to be homeschooling because we could easily go to Windsor and not worry about, having to catch up later. We just kind of paused and picked it up later on. It's a sad occasion. We did try to make the most of it. We spent a lot of time with family that we don't get to see very often. So that was kind of a nice upside to it. And we were able to take a couple side trips here and there on our way down and our way home and kind of go visit some places that we don't normally visit, which was a little bit of a bonus. The following week, the week right after Meme passed away, and that we had our funeral, we came home. That was the week that Alexi was diagnosed with food sensitivities. We will do a video about this later on. We had a feeling something was coming with it. We were working towards seeing if she did have food triggers, and her diagnosis came and it was a little bit shocking. I think that's an understatement. She was diagnosed with 67 food sensitivities, and I pretty much almost cried for 2 weeks. I was like on the verge of tears for about 2 weeks because my biggest concern is what do I feed this kid? And so basically we kind of had to pause the schooling because my mind and Stefan's mind was just the only thing we could think about was what are we going to feed her next? Because there were so many things. It was such a mind shift of what can we feed her? How are we going to feed her? And then also taking into consideration things like making sure she's getting enough protein, making sure she's getting enough vitamins and minerals, that her diet is varied enough. Just basically feeding her for 2 or 3 solid weeks was all we could really focus on. Like it was just so much change all at once. So that kind of threw us for a loop because really I couldn't even think about schooling them without thinking of because my whole thought was, lunch is coming. What am I going to feed them for lunch? As soon as lunch was over, what am I going to feed them for supper? Because there's that many restrictions on our diet. If that wasn't enough, right after that, we had already booked. She was diagnosed on a Friday. On Monday morning, we went on a holiday that we had already booked. So yes, it was a little bit chaotic. We obviously made it through. We went to Toronto. We had that trip already planned. We really enjoyed going to the zoo. That's a highlight. We enjoyed going to the aquarium. We went to the Ontario Science Center. That was a little hairy. It was March break, and there was a lot of camps there with a lot of kids and not a lot of supervision, which was definitely not something we anticipated. It was busy. Saying busy was an understatement, but the zoo was amazing. The kids had so much fun at the zoo. The aquarium, we went later in the evening, and it was wonderful. So we definitely enjoyed our trip to Toronto, even though we were focused on feeding Alexi 90% of the time, but we did end up having fun, and it was a really educational experience for our kids and for us. So that was kind of a bonus, but it was just one more thing in a very short amount of time. So after that, if that was just not enough, as soon as we got home from Toronto, we discovered that our garage was in the process of collapsing. Like I said, January to Valentine's was really good. It was a little bit slow for us, and we didn't have the motivation that we had early in the year. And then it was just like one thing after another. All that happened basically from in the span of 6 weeks. We had Meme pass away, the funeral, Alexi's diagnosis, trip to Toronto, and our garage collapse in 6 weeks. And on top of all of those crazy things, we got sick not once, not twice, but 3 times since January. I blame that on Zoe, because Zoe puts everything in her mouth. Alexi never put anything in her mouth. And if you ever see Zoe, she puts everything in her mouth, and then she's always the first one to get sick, and then she passes it on to all of us. So we've been sick 3 times, 2 colds and 1 stomach flu, all thanks to Zoe. When April started, we kind of rallied. We started fresh, kind of got ourselves some more energy. It did help that it was starting to get warmer outside, but we just kind of said, okay, we're gonna pick ourselves back up. And April did go really, really well. We were able to get a lot more done, kind of get a little bit closer to where we were hoping to be at this point. But with April ending now and our term ending, looking back, we obviously didn't get everything that we had hoped to get done, everything we had kind of planned and talked about getting done, but that's okay, because we can just continue. That's the nice thing about homeschooling, is you can pick it up when you want to, you can stop for a little bit. And we definitely this term needed some time to pause, and we needed some breaks. There's just so much going on in our lives, and personally, and obviously with our home and our health, that we definitely needed those breaks to just stop, breathe, and pick ourselves up and move on when the time was right. So there were some good things that we had happen this term. There's always looking for silver linings. April, we got back on track, which was great. But because we were traveling so much, just through the different things that happened, we definitely got to go to a lot of cool places. We were able to go to Colasantes when we were in Windsor, which is like an indoor greenhouse amusement park petting zoo, which was fun. We took the kids to medieval times, which is something that we wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. Like I said, the zoo and the aquarium. We did a trip to IKEA, which was really fun. You can find all those videos, will be here on the bottom. Those were a lot of experiences and field trips that we kind of wouldn't have been able to take had we not had the term that we did have. So that was great. It was a lot of fun and hands-on learning, but we were definitely looking forward to in April when we kind of got to come home and kind of just be at home for a little bit. Those were the good things that happened this term. So one of the nice things about having a term is it gives you kind of a little block to look back on and to make some notes for next year. And one of the things that we're going to do for next year is we are definitely going to try to find something super engaging, super exciting, and something that really captures our attention and our excitement and our imaginations for January, something to kind of like pick us up out of that lull that happens post-Christmas. So that is something that we're definitely going to be looking for. I also want to come up with a better plan for sick days, because when you're at home with your kids all day, every day, a sick day is just like another thing, because you're already home a lot, and then it's all of a sudden you can't go and do all the things that you would love to do. You know, we don't get to go to playgroup or our sounds, and we don't get to go to our field trips or whatever we're doing. So we kind of get boxed in, especially when it becomes super, super cold here and we can't even go outside. So looking forward to next year, I would like to come up with a couple more activities to do on sick days, especially when one kid is sick and one is not. That was a little bit of a struggle this term, but we'll work on that. We'll figure it out for next year. But term 2 is done. We are now moving on to term 3, and I am excited. I'm excited for term 3. So we are year-round homeschoolers. It works for us. Each term we kind of do things differently, and so we have different expectations and different plans for term 3, which is going to go from May all the way to the end of August. And we're excited. I am super excited for what we have planned for the summer with our kids. Basically, we are going to be working on our letters still with Lexi, finishing up all of our letters because she's kind of done one round through, and then doing like over the summer reviewing the letters, but also working on the letter sounds, because we had done a lot of like, what does the letter look like, how to draw the letter. Now we're going to do what the letter sounds like and connecting the sound to the letter. So that's kind of our plan for literacy over the summer. We are going to definitely do more time outside. The weather's getting nicer. The snow is melting, all 13 feet of it. It's slowly going away. So we'll definitely be spending more time outside. Alexi is going to be doing her first team sport. She's starting soccer in May, which will be different for us. It's something we've never done. And so we're looking forward to, soccer games at the field, playing at the park more, swimming, hiking through the woods and trail walks. So those are all things that we're really looking forward to. We don't have a lot of trips planned for this summer. We have a couple little like day trips here and there that we are hoping to do. Maybe go visit my sister, maybe go visit some family. But other than that, we're not traveling. So we kind of do 1 year where we do a lot of traveling, 1 year where we're a little more home-based. This is a home-based year for us. And so we're kind of excited. We're going to try to have a quieter summer because that's just what we need right now. And I think it'll be really good for us to kind of just explore around our city and our town with the kids and get outside and enjoy the summer. So I'm looking forward to term 3. And this has been our term 2 update. I hope you guys had a great term, kind of winter and term. Let me know the things that you guys loved. I would love ideas for what you guys do on sick days. I would love ideas for what you found super engaging, because like I said, I'm looking for more ideas. So leave us a link below. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.
If you like what you saw, please subscribe to our channel and click on the bell to get notifications when we upload our latest videos.
Give us a thumbs up and don't forget to leave us a comment. We'll see you next week for more activities, adventures, and lifelong learning.
Bye!